shouldn't a woman that really loves you move to be with you?
Absolutely. So they're probably saying, well, why didn't Katie move over here? Well,
Yeah,
we
that's
went
fine.
into that with the school thing. Because number one was going to add like an extra 2.5 years. And
It's
I
gonna
was in a place where I could pay. Because I didn't have an income at that point. All I had was all my equity and my capital from the properties that I had sold and all the stuff that I had liquidated and the cash that I had. And that was my nest egg to, because I was like, I was optimistic. Yeah, 6 months, a year, 2 tops, I'll figure this business model out. And so that's like 2006. And it wasn't until like 2013 to where I was doing really well, where I could have a nice place, nice car, and all that stuff. And so that's like 7, 8 years to figure all that stuff out. A lot of trial and error, and at least $500,000 that I invested in that to really figure things out. And the good news is I give the whole business model away and everything I learned in mastering yourself. And that's why a lot of guys have learned my stuff and been able to start coaching, is because they copied my model. And it's like it was an ordeal to figure all that stuff out, because the thing that was hard is that I had to unlearn everything that I learned in real estate. Because when you were selling real estate, you sell a $300,000 house, you got the loan, the real estate commission, you're $22,000 in commissions. And when you're selling a $20, $30 book, you got to sell like thousands of books just to recoup the cost of the advertising. Whereas in real estate, when we were spending 50 grand a month, I only needed like 3 or 4 transactions, and I could easily cover what the advertising was. That's why when you look at TV, pharmaceutical sales, mostly car commercials is what you typically see on TV, because that's really the only people that can afford to advertise on television, because it was so expensive. And so I basically had to blow my wad or spend all that money to the point where it's like I didn't have any more money to spend on advertising. And so that's when, YouTube was really starting to do well, and I just started doing some YouTube videos in addition to the articles, because I was getting a lot of Google traffic, because blogging was really doing well back 2010, 2011, and then that started to shift towards YouTube. But it took several years for that to really start to ramp up.
Bless you.
Bless
Oh,
you.
no, sorry.
It took several years for that to ramp up and to really take off. So
But I think also it's a good question, but also you were talking about that priorities earlier. Hello. And I think for me it's going to cost me about 120,000 just for my course at the time over here.
yeah, you had to go, and you could go right into Bournemouth, right? And then, but in the States, if you went to the Palmer,
yeah.
you had to take like 2 years of community
Yeah,
college
because
stuff.
I had to have a chemistry and organic chemistry, and they didn't have such thing as organic chemistry, so I couldn't get an entrance like that. So it was like priorities for Corey at the time, priorities for me at the time, and that sort of overtook things at the time. But certainly it's a good question.
Yeah, and I wasn't ready to get married. I wasn't in a place. And that's the way
Neither was I.
life tends to work. Like a decade earlier, I had gotten married when I didn't want to, and it didn't feel right. And the only way legally for her and I to be together full time and stay in a relationship was if she moved to the States and we got married. And I was like, yeah, I
wasn't ready for that.
Not in a place for that.
Nor was I.
Yeah.
Are you ready for it now?
Yeah.
To move to the States.
Oh, I would consider the States. Yeah.